What's up, Taiwan? Good evening. I'm Yvonne with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. The leader of the U.S. House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, has declined to confirm whether she will be making a trip to Taiwan.
I don't ever discuss my travel plans. It's a security issue. You never even hear me say if I'm going to London, because it is a security issue. And so I won't be discussing that now.
On Thursday, Pelosi did, however, say it was important that the United States show support for Taiwan. The UK's Financial Times reported earlier this week that Pelosi plans to visit Taiwan in August. She would be the first sitting U.S. House Speaker to visit in a quarter century. Beijing says it would take unspecified strong measures against the U.S. if such a trip goes ahead. U.S. President Joe Biden has said his country's military is wary about the possible visit. A soldier has died after a tank's gun barrel malfunctioned on Thursday during maintenance work in the southern county of Pingtung. Another soldier remains in a stable condition in hospital. The accident is once again raising questions about the condition of Taiwan's military hardware, as Bing Wang now reports.
A fallen soldier returns home. A casualty of a tank accident in a military base in the southern county of Pingtung. Another soldier is still in the hospital. The soldiers were inspecting the tank when the gun barrel suddenly swung out. Military officials believe the malfunction could be because of the age of the tanks. The tank model involved, the CM-11, was first introduced in 1990. In 2016, a brake failure of the same model tank caused it to fall into the river, killing 3 soldiers.
这个战车有一定的年纪了，这一次我觉得应该是在检测时期安全管制没有做好。
The Taiwanese military has recently suffered a spate of accidents, resulting in 4 deaths so far this year. 4 military aircraft have crashed, killing 3 pilots. And just last month, a rocket launcher failed to fire during a routine exercise. No one was injured, but it damaged the vehicle. These accidents are prompting defense experts to wonder if the country should upgrade its military gear.
Taiwan has kind of old-fashioned and kind of old military hardware. So that's why Pentagon and the Biden administration just approved kind of military hardware to strengthen Taiwan's military equipment.
Many believe Taiwan is due for new hardware and hope these weapons from the U.S. will not only increase Taiwan's defense capabilities, but also decrease the number of accidents. Alex Chen and Bing Wang for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan's defense capabilities are being put to the test ahead of the country's largest military exercises, which are due to begin next week. The head of the CIA has warned that China appears intent on using force against Taiwan. It's a scenario that Taiwan's military and a growing number of Taiwanese are preparing for. Rick Glauer reports.
Military attack helicopters fly over Danshui River north of Taiwan's capital, Taipei, ahead of huge live fire drills next week, slated to pressure test defense of the capital should China attack.
立体登陆的这个作业能力上已经大幅的跃进，所以它这一次的这样一个演习的这样一个模拟的情况呢，是比较贴近现在攻击军真实的这样一个攻击能力。
Taiwan's military regularly conducts drills simulating attacks from China, which claims Taiwan as its own and has recently upped threats to take by force. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has prompted Taiwan to reconsider the nation's ability to defend itself. In firing ranges in the capital, more and more Taiwanese are learning how to use airsoft guns, low-power devices designed to shoot non-metallic projectiles.
会开始去上课是因为战争的关系，就想要学习更多一些战技吧。 就是还有一些，就是可能不只是你会用枪而已，对你可能会应付各种的情况。
Taiwan has also upped domestic production of its own military hardware, including trainer fighter jets, military vehicles, and most recently, guns. For now, Most of Taiwan's weapons come from the US, its largest, albeit unofficial, ally. But they are not coming quick enough, according to former US Defense Secretary Mark Esper, who recently made a trip to Taiwan.
I didn't pick up any frustration other than, the speed at which we conduct arms sales. And that's an issue not just for Taiwan, but for all of America's allies and partners. Our process simply is not quick enough. And we need to do better in terms of approving arms sales.
The threat facing Taiwan is getting more real by the day, forcing its government and its citizens to rethink where it can get the weapons it needs and who will be using them. As Nigel and Rick Lowett for TaiwanPlus.
U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo has described America's reliance on Taiwanese semiconductors as untenable and unsafe. Her comments come as U.S. lawmakers voted to press ahead with the CHIPS Act, a bill that would provide more than $50 billion for the country's chip industry. James Chater reports.
It's been in a political quagmire for over a year, but US lawmakers look set to vote next week on a final version of the CHIPS Act. The $52 billion bill includes subsidies and tax breaks aimed at strengthening US semiconductor manufacturing, the engine of a vast array of electronics, from phones to fighter jets. The legislation was written with China in mind.
It's in the interest of every American, so we can sleep easy at night knowing our national security is protected and China won't eat our lunch, to pass this bill, particularly the chips component, because that's the most time sensitive.
Caught in the middle of the US-China tussle for technological supremacy is Taiwan. Taiwan's top chip manufacturers like TSMC produce over 90% of the world's most advanced chips. TSMC is the only Taiwanese chip manufacturer to have factories in both the US and China. But despite guardrails preventing subsidies being used in adversarial countries, Taiwan's economy minister believes the bill's impact on the company will be limited.
台积电就是目前在美国设厂然后找日本投资，先进制程的部分，台积电还是主要都还是在台湾。
That's a sentiment echoed by Robert Cao, the founder of UMC, another of Taiwan's chip giants.
像台湾的厂商没有需要补助的了，很多政府补助我们宁可不要，你不需要钱，你干嘛要补助呢？所以其实没有影响了。
But UMC's deputy chairman said US chip legislation that targets China could end up hurting Washington itself. With semiconductors increasingly viewed as part and parcel of US competition with China, Taiwan's chip giants, caught between, will continue to have a fine line to tread. Damon Lin and James Chater for TaiwanPlus.
Heat waves are being reported around the world, and here in Taiwan, temperatures have reached new record highs. Eric Gao has the details.
Taiwan is sweltering in a heat wave. Part of Hualien County saw temperatures soar to 41.4 degrees Celsius. That is actually the hottest temperature in Taiwan ever, but it's not officially considered a record.
Now, Taiwan's Weather Bureau doesn't count the findings of unmanned stations like the one in Hualien, but with the heat wave set to continue, manned stations could still see new highs in the coming days,
potentially beating the current official record of 40.2 degrees, recorded almost exactly 2 years ago in southeastern Taiwan's Taidong County.
温度相对来说真的很高，甚至它连大台北就台北市这个地方，38度连续的天数都来到了4天。
With the blistering temperatures, people are looking for ways to beat the heat.
感觉非常的热，然后刚好看到附近有这一间饼店，刚刚有买过，还不错吃，再来买一次。
Stay safe from the heat. Weather officials are urging people to avoid outdoor activities and to stay hydrated. For those here, there's little other choice but to find ways to cope with the blazing sun. Kama Xu and Eric Gao for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, we leave you with images of a European Space Agency astronaut and a Russian cosmonaut working on the robotic arm on the International Space Station. I'm Yvonne Young. Take care and see you next time.